Kyle here from All Media Reviews, here to continue vinyl collection A to Z, and I could just say right now, before I do this, that I got some more vinyl in the mail. That's what I was kind of alluding to yesterday's video when I was doing the ends. And I got some, and some stuff still coming, because I went on a little bit of a binge on Discogs. When you see prices and they're cheaper, you know, it's just kind of hard, and, you know, you just, after you get paid and everything, I mean, my wife likes to shop and buy her makeup and clothes and everything like that, and my stuff is this is my vice, of course. So, starting with the O's. O's is not too long of a list. That's why the N's and O's weren't. I didn't think it was gonna be long, but anyway. So I have. This is the first one. This is from the band Oh Brother, Garden Window. I think this was 2011. Yeah, it was. This is their debut album. I saw them. They were compared to Annuals, I think, but I mean, the comparison's only to an extent. There's one track on here that's terrific. Their styles are kind of a mixture. I mean, they're not metal. What's the song that's so... I think it's Easy Talk, Open Your Mouth. It's prog. I mean, it definitely is sort of... or art rock. It's Empire. Show the gatefold, I guess. I think I may have got this at this show, because I saw them, I forget who I saw them with. I saw them with Biffy Clyro more recently, and that wasn't that recent. That was 6-7 years ago. That was when I met Mike Vennart the one time when he was playing with Biffy. But, shoot, this is going to bug me. Right around this time, I can't remember, might have been the Deer Hunter, or Trios, or one of those bands. Well, the time I saw Trios, so I wasn't buying vinyl. I don't know, this is a good debut album. The album that came on after, a lot of people liked even more. It was darker. It's like, they're prog, they're textured pop, you know, but they're not pop too, they're also noise rock. They have a noise element in them, which is kind of sort of hit and miss for me. But I found that, and this was on my list in 2011 of albums of the year, I remember that. Will be one coming up, maybe. I found that this album overall worked. That Open Your Mouth, that Easy Talk, whatever, that was by far my favorite track on it. So, anyway, I'll have to look that up in I should have my concert list when I do this. So, alright, so I have 3 records from this band, a beloved band by many. Still looking to pick up some others at some point, 1 or 2, especially some of their extended releases. So, this is my Ocean-Size collection, which I've shown here and there, definitely individually when I pick these up. So I have, of course, the debut album, 2003, Efflores, speaking of Mike Vennart. 2005, I got Mike to sign this. This is an original pressing of Everyone's Position. It was repressed. I'm tempted to buy the repressing, the orange album. And then 2007's Frames, of course, which I think this came with a CD. I love all these records. I don't have the last Ocean-Size Self-Preserve While the Bodies Float Up, which I like, but it's a little more spotty. But I mean, it was kind of the time it came out, I wasn't buying vinyl, and I've just kind of blown it off. And I don't even have the last Dredge album. Those 2 I need to get. I need to pick them up, and I will. I actually put it on my wish list. I want list on. But I mean, I've said a lot about these albums over the years. I mean, there's so many great songs, and they were such a great band, but they were a little too ambitious to become commercially big, you know. But yeah, I mean, I Am the Morning on the debut album, Catalyst, Massive Bereavement, Remember Where You Are, Amputee, Women Who Love Men Who Love Drugs, Saturday Morning Breakfast Show, Long Forgotten. Every track, I mean, it's more atmospheric, and the Pink Floyd textures are great on this record. The kind of Pink Floyd guitar texture, specifically. Everyone's Position, the opening track, The Charm Offensive, Ornament, The Last Wrongs are my favorite. I had to pick favorites on this, but this is the album that got me into them. Heaven Alive, Meredith, Music for a Nurse. People think that's their best song ever. It's more of a slower piece, but No Tomorrow. The riffs are just so like over the top, heavy, and wall of sound. I was thinking they were metal when I first heard them. They're not metal exactly, but it's heavy. You could say heavy art prog post rock, you know, and some of the vocal lines Van Aert comes up with. It's just they were a special band, Ocean Size. You know, and Van Aert has continued some of that with his solo career, which I'll be showing that stuff down the road here. And then Frames, the first album on Super Bowl, which is like an imprint of Inside Out. Some people consider this their masterpiece. The Frame, the title, the closing piece is just majestic. The first two tracks, 9/11 commemorative T-shirt and Unfamiliar. Those two are it's 1-2 punch, and just the Trail of Fire, and every track on this album is terrific. It's very cohesive. Even that song Sleeping Dogs and Dead Days or whatever it's called, which is a little odder, I still think it works. And, you know, the concept of this album being sort of about Friday the 13th, the first movie specifically, and of course there's a track called An Old Friend of the Christies, and then there's a bonus track called Voorhees. Maybe that was Red, because, you know, the whole slasher movie thing, but yeah, Frames is great, so yeah, at some point I hopefully will be showing Salt Preserved, and they have a ton of like EPs and singles on vinyl included that I'd love to show at some point. So, all right, so I only have 2 records from this band. You know, people love this band, and I thought I had more. I thought I had, and I could be wrong because I was looking this up the other day. Yeah, I thought I had more, but I guess I only have these 2. It's Opeth, of course. You know, I don't know why I bought this, because this is not one of my favorite Opeth albums. My Arms, Your Hurt. I think I found it for like $10. It was probably marked down, I think, the casing. But this is their 3rd record? 2nd or 3rd. It came out in, this is a 2016 pressing, but the first is Orchid. I think Still Life was their, Still Life is not, but the order of the early Opeth. Still Life is the album that preceded Blackwater Park, of course, and Still Life was 99, so I want to say this is maybe their 2nd album. I'm going to have to look. I just had to pull it out. I know that people like this record, but they also talk about the production being an issue. 97, so maybe this was their 2nd, recorded in 94, yeah. I mean, like, Ackerfeld wasn't even original member of the band, I think it was. Or he wasn't the original singer. But at this point, he basically had taken over the band. But, yeah, I you know, Opeth, when I got into trying to get into more types of metal and other kinds of metal, you know, they were the obvious ones. The growling really took till Deliverance, you know, and I got past some of the growling. I kind of found it funny, but, I got almost all their albums in the period where there was growling and even Damnation on CD, but I didn't find a massive need to buy them on vinyl, although I used to see them on vinyl at cheap all the time. But that's the thing I always think of this album is it's got April Ethereal, Demon of the Fall. That's probably the most well-known track on here. But I've talked about how the production wasn't great on this. Anyway, I could be wrong. It's like Orchid's their first album. I think it was their 2nd album, because I'm spacing on the album between Still Life and Orchid and the one, you know, I can't remember, 2nd or 3rd. I think it's their 2nd album. Anyway, given the time frame. If it came out in 97, though, because if Still Life came out in 99, maybe it was their 3rd album. Then I'm spacing on the title of their 2nd album. But I have Ghost Reveries, which is my go-to, even though Steven Wilson wasn't involved, as he was involved with Deliverance and Damnation and Blackwater Park, of course. This is my go-to, and I know some people think it sucks, but I actually find the Grand Conjuration the best part of this, and the best thing Opeth actually ever did. It's like a Deep Purple doing extreme metal in some ways. I love the use of organ. Ghost of Perdition, Bane of the Hounds, Beneath the Mar. This is a great record beginning to end. The atmosphere, the flow. I mean, I really like Deliverance a lot, you know, I'm one of these people. I am one of those people that feels like Opeth's not Opeth without the growls. That I just came to believe that. Even though I do like Damnation, the stuff that they've done since after Watershed, I gave the Element Fall that the first clean album at that point ago, and I'm like, yeah, this is okay, and it just, I know it's good he's not growling to preserve his voice and everything, but yeah, this is, it even has the Grand Conjuration featuring, interesting, on the sticker there. But yeah, Ghost Reveries in 2005 is my go-to Opeth album. I'd like to get some of their others, especially Deliverance and Damnation and maybe Still Life at some point. And Blackwater Park. I find Blackwater Park is like the constantly mentioned, and I think it's a little bit, I don't know if you call it overrated again. I guess it's just over-mentioned. And I think Deliverance, they did that kind of stuff better. I like Deliverance more. And even Still Life, if I was choosing between Blackwater Park and Still Life, I probably would go Still Life. But anyway. Oh, there's one of my kitties. So I have the first, the debut album from OSI. I showed this on video a couple years ago. You want to be on camera? Ah. Yeah, here's Kitty. What do you want to learn about OSI and Opeth? You have the black fur, but white fur too, Kaja. Yeah, OSI's debut album 2003 was great. Jim Matheos, Kevin Moore, Mike Portnoy, of course. Mike Portnoy didn't do a lot of the drum parts. I know Kevin Moore basically took his drum parts and chopped them up, but great atmospheric. You call it prog metal? I guess you would, because the guitar riffs especially. You could call it post rock of a sort too, or I don't know. With the samples, the use of samples are great, and this actually has the bonus tracks with the Pink Floyd cover, Set the Control for the Heart of the Sun, and New Mama from Neil Young, where they sampled Rambo. Or was it First Blood? I can't remember which one. And it has The Thing That Never Was, which was like a combination of that epic they were writing that at one point Daniel Gildenlow was intended to be singing vocals for, but yeah, I mean the self-titled song OSI, The New Math, Head, Hello Helicopter, Shutdown of course, that's 10 minutes. It has Steven Wilson. It's a terrific debut album. Unfortunately, I don't find that they ever really captured what they did on this first album again. I like some parts of, especially revisiting, was it last year before, the follow-up, I'm not even remembering the name, and then Blood, the follow-up from 2006. I can't remember the title now, but I just don't think, I was not into those albums as much as this album. And the last one, Fire Makes Sky, Fire Makes Thunder, I can't remember the name of it. So, anyway, that's the first OSI album that I have in vinyl. So, alright, I have one album from this guy. This is the late local musician from Minnesota, Peter Ostroushko, who played, I believe he played with Prairie Home Companion. He played with Dean McGraw, of course, one of my favorite guitarists from Minnesota. He collaborated with Peter Ostroushko frequently. He's on this. Same and Marcus Wise, who's a djembe or tabla player. I'm thinking of Mark Anderson. I get Marcus Wise and Mark Anderson mixed up sometimes, unfortunately. But yeah, this is Peter Ostroushko's albums, Buddles or Buddies of Swing, Buddies of Swing, and I don't know the year on this. I want to say it was sometime in the 80s, especially because it's on vinyl. I'll just take a look at it quickly. Like it got taken out of the case. Oh yeah, and Dean signed it for me. I don't know when that was. It was a couple of years ago, maybe before COVID. Recorded in St. Paul, of course. It doesn't say the year on here. Oh, 87. Yeah. Yeah, he signed this. You know, he signed that part and this part. Yep. Yeah, he's a tabla player, Marcus. Oh, you know what? I'm totally wrong about this. Because I had the back. I had these two together when I had Dean sign them. So this should have gone probably in the end with Dean. It's my other Dean record. But I'm showing it now, I guess. So I have Wise McGraw. I was thinking, I don't know if Marcus Weiss is on this. He might be. No, it's basically it is Dean's on it. Obviously, I haven't signed it, but Butch Thompson, Tom Lewis, Prudence Johnson, who I showed a record from a couple videos ago. But so this is Buddies of Swing, and I just happened to have this in the same case because I probably brought it down to when I saw Dean at the Black Dog many years ago. The Wise McGraw album from '85. So. Two Dean McGraw related albums in the O's, which doesn't make any sense because I had Peter Ostroushko, but I'll have to fix that when I finish this stuff and put all the new stuff I'm getting back on the shelf. Alright, so I think this is... No, I got a couple more. Okay. So I've got 2 records from this artist. This is ours. The only 2 records they put out on vinyl. This is 2000... Let's see here. 2013's Ballet the Boxer 1 and 2017 or 2008, I think it was 2018's New Age Heroin, which I like both of these albums. I find them, I'm going to call them spotty, but I find them a little more spotty than some of the other Ours albums. The last one that came out, while it was really long, had a little more depth. But I've actually come to, especially Ballet the Boxer, like it more and more. The remastered version, having listened to it last year, it's got Sing. That song's great. It's about like Michael Jackson, I guess, but it's just a very catchy, earwormy. Pretty Pain, Emergency, Devil plays live a lot, and Boxer, and Fall Into My Hands, which is a song I guess about Lana Del Rey. Of course, Lana Del Rey has the song about him called Jimmy Necco. I'm talking about Jimmy Necco, of course. I've showed my Jimmy Necco with the G, of course, in the G's solo album, The Heart, a number of videos ago. So, and then New Age Heroin from 2018. My favorite track on this, he plays frequently live, is Fly. Pain aside, though, is the other really kind of catchy banger on this album. But I have a download card here. You know, there's some others. It's more stripped down, I found. You know, more ballads. It was kind of hit and miss with ballads, which I like it when Jimmy and Ours do ballads, but not as much as some of their more energetic tracks. But this is the third one that came out, which ended up being the self-titled. It was originally called Spectacular Sight, of a trilogy of records. He wrote and recorded. He wrote like almost all this music at the same time of this sort of trilogy of the last 3 records. What he's going to do now is up in the air. But he's got his band that he's had for a while now, so it's going to be, there's a lot more continuity. That's the thing about ours. Ours is Jimmy Necco, but it's at the same time, you know, he's had a lot of revolving musicians. Static, the guitarist, was with him for a long time, but the last, I don't know, is it like at least 6 or 7 years they've had the same people. So okay, I'm going out of order here. I have 2 more O's. One record, this record from the artist Ozric, which I just got it a couple months ago. This is his debut album. He had one other album. It's a self-titled. Power pop-ish. I revisited and I remember how much I liked this. If you like Jellyfish, definitely worth checking out if you've never heard Owsley. Unfortunately, he took his own life. It was like, I think he took his own life, but it was about a little over 10 years ago. But yeah, this is, Oh No, the Radio. That's the one I always think of this album. I talked about this when I got the vinyl, more detail, but hey, stop biting me. Like, my kitty likes to play bite. Anyway. So, the last one, he wants my attention, wants me talking to the camera. I have this Ozric Tentacles, the one Ozric Tentacles album I have on vinyl. This is actually, I have a couple of their CDs, but this has always been my go-to. This is the first one I bought. This is Strangeitude. Came out in well, this was pressed in 2009. This is like, let's say like mid-80s, mid to late 80s. It has kind of like a Grateful Dead or almost like a Yes kind of artwork on this. I mean, Ozric Tentacles are an instrumental band that does space rock. That, you know, kind of took the mantle from Hawkwind in a way in the 80s, and you could say their sound is kind of homogenous. It's kind of repetitive. It's, you know, you've heard one album, you've heard them all. Not exactly. They're actually more unique live in that respect. But I've found that Strangeitude is the album that I guess maybe because it was the first album I heard, but it didn't seem to get. I've never grown bored with it. It just is. It flows really well, and there's still little moments I enjoy in it that I find with some of the other Ozric albums, I kind of just feel like I've heard before. It's a little more distinct, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, this I think it was like 80. I have it on CD too, although I'm not sure I actually will recover that because I'm still missing CDs. I want to say it was like 87 or 88 when this came out. It's just giving me the 2009 pressing from this compilation. Lilith Records is the. But you know, it was sometime in the 80s or maybe early 90s that this album came out. Ozric Tentacles' career goes back into the 80s. They have a lot of, they have like 15 albums or something, and then Ed Wynn, of course, who's basically is the main person behind Ozric Tentacles. Although he was married to a woman from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. When I saw them live the first time, I went to Wisconsin to see them. He had Hal Waters, Roger Waters' son, on the keyboards. But yeah, I mean they're good again, but I think they're just sort of they're good in small doses or like in the right mood. I guess they're kind of mood music. But I'm surprised they didn't actually print the actual year that this actually came out. But I want to say sometime in either the late 80s or early 90s, but maybe I'll put that in the description. So that's it for the O's. If I have time later, I'm going to try to do some of the P's, because the P's are, I can just tell you, is that whole shelf on the bottom here, which you can see. So it's going to be like the M's, probably at least 2, maybe 3 videos, so I may just get through the first part of the P's if I can do a video later today. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you next time.